One ancient monument embarrassed biblical skeptics because it preserved the name of an Israelite king almost 2,800 years before our time. It stood inside an Assyrian palace, covered with scenes of conquered nations. One carving shows a man kneeling before the Assyrian king, but no one knew who he was until they translated 4 lines in cuneiform. And there it was, Jehu, son of Omri, king of Israel. Today we call it the Black Obelisk. It's one of the oldest archaeological references to a king from the Bible, and you can still see it today. Every discovery tells another piece of the story. Why do you think God's allowing more and more of these things to be brought to light? The Babylonians accidentally confirmed one of the Bible's darkest days. Not in the Bible, but in their own official records. Archaeologists uncovered an ancient clay tablet, known today as the Babylonian Chronicles. Then they translated one chilling sentence. It described Nebuchadnezzar marching against Jerusalem. The tablet records the city's capture and the installation of a new king. Exactly the sequence described in 2 Kings. The Bible tells the story from Judah's side. Babylon recorded it from theirs. Sometimes history has 2 witnesses. Subscribe for more. What if the man who foretold the coming Messiah left behind his seal? Archaeologists discovered a clay seal impression with the name Isaiah near King Hezekiah's royal seal in Jerusalem. The inscription is damaged, which is why scholars still debate whether it belonged to the prophet himself. But don't miss what we do know. Isaiah wasn't written into a mythical kingdom. His ministry unfolded alongside real kings, real cities, and real history. Every discovery from that world reminds us the Bible's greatest prophecies were spoken in places archaeology can still explore today. History doesn't prove every detail, but it keeps uncovering the stage where the story was told. Would finding Isaiah's personal seal change the way you think about the Bible? They said that the Bible made this king up. Then workers accidentally walked into his engineering project. Hidden beneath Jerusalem is a tunnel over 2,700 years old, and the Bible tells us exactly who ordered it. When the Assyrian army was coming to destroy Jerusalem, King Hezekiah faced a problem. If the enemy controlled the city's water, Jerusalem would fall. So Hezekiah did something incredible. He ordered 2 teams of workers to start digging through solid rock from opposite ends. Against all odds, the 2 teams met in the middle. The tunnel still exists today, and you can walk through it yourself. And an ancient inscription found inside records the very moment the workers heard each other breaking through the rock. The Bible describes Hezekiah building the water tunnel in 2 Kings 20:20 and 2 Chronicles 32:30. Today, the tunnel is one of Jerusalem's most famous archaeological sites. The Bible isn't becoming less historical. We're discovering more of its history every year. Subscribe for more discoveries. What if we've been looking at Mount Sinai in the wrong country this whole time? Some researchers believe the real Mount Sinai isn't in Egypt, but it's northwest Saudi Arabia at the mountain called Jebel el-Laws. And their reasons are surprisingly interesting because the clues don't stop at the mountain itself. Researchers point to a large split rock, an ancient altar with petroglyphs that some interpret as cattle, possibly ancient boundary markers around the mountain, and a broad plain large enough to accommodate a massive encampment. Supporters argue these features fit the biblical description of Israel's time in the wilderness. Critics disagree, saying the evidence is inconclusive and many of the claims remain unverified. So is Jebel el-Laws the real Mount Sinai? The debate is far from over, but it's one of the most fascinating biblical archaeological discoveries being discussed today. Want to see the evidence for yourself? Watch the video pinned below. Imagine discovering the official record of the day Israel fell. That's what archaeologists found on a clay prism from ancient Assyria. King Sargon II proudly recorded his conquest of Samaria. But he didn't stop there. He also recorded deporting the people. The Bible describes those same events in 2 Kings chapter 17. From Israel's perspective, Assyria recorded them from its own. Subscribe if you enjoy discovering where archaeology and the Bible intersect. There's a reason these discoveries surprise people. When most people hear Exodus, they expect to find one dramatic artifact. History rarely works that way. Instead, archaeologists uncovered dozens of smaller clues: Egyptian documents, Semitic populations, foreign laborers, bones worn down from years of hard work. Individually, they raise questions. Together, they describe a world remarkably similar to Exodus. That's why this conversation refuses to disappear. Have you ever heard of this evidence before today? Did you know that archaeologists just uncovered burnt wooden beams from the destruction of Solomon's temple? These massive charred beams were found in Jerusalem's city of David and are believed to date to 586 BC, when King Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem, just as the Bible describes in 2 Kings chapter 25 and 2 Chronicles 36. And here's what's incredible. Wood almost never survives that long in Israel's climate, but these beams were sealed beneath collapsed plaster as the building burned, preserving them for over 2,600 years. Even more amazing, the beams still continue visible tree rings that could allow archaeologists to date them with incredible precision. It's another reminder that the Bible isn't just telling stories, it records real people, real places, and real events that continue to leave evidence in the ground. Subscribe for more Proof in the Dirt, where we uncover the archaeology behind the Bible. What if archaeologists found evidence connected to Joseph in Egypt? At the ancient site of Avaris, archaeologists uncovered something unusual: a large statue of a Semitic man. Not an Egyptian, a foreigner. What's even more interesting is that this figure appears to wear a coat decorated with multiple colors, and the statue stood in place of honor. That's why some researchers started asking a fascinating question. Could this be connected to Joseph? The Bible says Joseph was a foreigner who rose to power in Egypt and was known for his multicolored coat. No, the statue doesn't have Joseph's name on it. But discoveries like this remind us that the world described in Genesis was a real world filled with real people and real history. Do you think this discovery could be connected to Joseph? Watch the video below for more. People say John's Gospel was written way too late to trust it. Then archaeologists found this. Known as P52, it's the earliest widely recognized fragment of the New Testament ever discovered. It comes from the Gospel of John and is commonly dated to the early 2nd century. That means John's Gospel was already being copied and circulated remarkably early, meaning there was earlier copies. Now think about what that means. John's Gospel is one that begins by declaring the Word was God. The fragment doesn't contain those opening verses, but it does show that this Gospel, complete with its high view of Jesus, was already spreading within decades of the apostles. History didn't invent John's message, it preserved it. Does it surprise you that the earliest known fragment of the Gospel comes from the book of John?